So as we start working in our narrative unit, we're going to be all writing different types of narratives. Seventh graders, you're going to be writing a historical narrative, and eighth graders, you're going to be writing a personal narrative about something that you value. There are some techniques that we're going to learn that really help your narrative become something really well written. So in today's lesson, we're going to be looking at how do you write an effective lead. Other people call it a hook, but I call it a lead because it leads the reader into your story and really leads you as the writer into like a map of what you want to talk about. So stay tuned and we'll take a look at what I mean by writing an effective lead. So when I talk about a lead, an effective lead in any type of narrative is typically one or two sentences whose sole focus is to hook the reader's attention, to really lead the reader in. And I found that there are typically, no matter what type of writing you're doing, whether it's fiction or nonfiction, whether you're writing true stories or make-believe stories, there are really 6 different types of leads that really help develop your narrative writing. So the first one, we're just going to go through all 6. The first one is called setting the mood. And when you're setting the mood, your job as a writer is to establish the time and place using really descriptive adjectives. And you're going to see in blue, I've given you examples of what each lead looks like. So here's my setting the mood. The fog blanketed the harbor. The fishing boats bumped gently against the docks, and the bell buoys clanged an ominous warning. So in this setting the mood lead, what I'm trying to do is paint that picture of what it looks like, what you hear, and maybe give you a little bit of sense that there's some danger coming up. The second type is called ask a question, and it's really important if you ask a question to get your reader interested, that this question not be a type of question that can be answered with a yes or no. You really want your reader to get involved and to think about how they would answer your question. So here's an example. What happened to the abandoned fishing boat? Where did the men go? Was something hiding in the fog? So in this ask a question lead, the reader has to say, well, I don't know what happened to the abandoned fishing boat. Maybe there was a ghost. Maybe they're in the Bermuda Triangle. Where did the men go? Well, maybe they fell overboard. Maybe they were captured by pirates. Was something hiding in the fog? Maybe it's the giant monster from 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. But because they are not yes or no questions, the reader is forced to either say, I don't know, or try to come up with some possibilities, some predictions that would get them involved in your story. The third type of lead is called an arresting statement. It uses short, really powerful sentences. You really want to grab the reader's attention. Oh, you literally want to grab them by the throat. And this type of lead often uses onomatopoeia, and what I mean by that are words, sound effect words like kaboom, crash, smash, boom. So these are fun to write, and they really help you just grab that reader's attention. So I've written 2. The first one is kaboom! The explosion tore through the fishing boat. So that gives you a sense of sound. You know there's been an explosion. The second one, I've used only 3 words, but I tried to make them really powerful. They're all dead. That lead, you're like, wow, I need to read more to find out. And if that's the first sentence in your story, you're going to hook your reader. The fourth style of writing a good lead or an effective lead is called an astonishing fact. I typically save this type of lead if I'm writing nonfiction, if I'm writing a research paper, but they can work in a fiction narrative. Very often in an astonishing fact, you use statistics or other forms of numbers to really drive home a point. So here's an example. Over 900 people have been lost at sea in the mysterious Bermuda Triangle. So that's pretty astonishing, something that's mysterious, but 900 people have been lost. Next, we have use dialogue from the characters in your story, or use an actual quote from a real person. So in this particular case, I've created dialogue from a character in a story, and my job is to use that quote to hook the reader in. So here's a character. I haven't named this character other than the first mate, but he's talking to Captain Stevens. Captain, there's a fog bank rolling in fast. I can't see to steer this old freighter, the first mate warned Captain Stevens. So I'm immediately bringing in two characters, the first mate and the captain, and I'm telling you in this very opening lead that there's a problem. The last type of lead is called introduce the main character, and it is just what it says. You're going to use a lot of descriptive adjectives and active verbs to not tell the reader who the main character is, but to show us. So here's the captain from my sea story. Captain Eli Stevens was an old fisherman with a long white beard and a weather-worn face. He never slowed down or got tired of searching the high seas for fish. So we get a sense of what he looks like, and the fact that he's old, he just doesn't slow down. That gives you a sense of who he is. So for this next assignment, after you've written your 6-word memoirs, you've taken one of those and developed it in a 144-word Twitter tweet, then I want you to take a look at these leads and choose 2 or 3 and try to write 2 or 3 different leads for the same story and see how it changes your story, which one works for you. In the assignment that will go with this video, I've done samples of all 3, so you'll get a chance to see those in the written assignment portion of this lesson.